Hello, Internet. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. And anywhere else this video may appear. My name is Samuel Huber. I'm here with Cheryl, who's written a book or two, and she is a single mom with her adult son, Nicky, and we're going to talk to her about her experience with autism. Cheryl, can you tell the folks a bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name's Cheryl Borrelli, and I'm originally from South Philly. I was born and raised, and my son
Represent.
Nicky is 21 years old, and he is on the severe end of the spectrum. So about 7 years ago, we moved out to the suburbs together to be close to his school. The bus rides back and forth from Philly to his facility were a bit long and trying for him. So, we decided to move closer to his school.
Mhm.
And I caretake for Nicky at home. I'm his direct care worker, and I also have my writing.
So, how did the move help Nicky's transition? Did it make school better for him?
Um, Actually, it was very confusing for him at first for a while. He didn't understand what our new home was about. He kept asking to go back to our original home, thinking, maybe we were just visiting or on vacation sort of thing.
Mhm.
The bus rides were a lot better for him. He didn't have that anxiety of the travel time. But it did take him quite a bit of time to adjust to our new environment and our new home. Transition was difficult on them.
So for the parents out there that have kids like Nikki, how did Nikki eventually grasp the concept? Hey, we live here now.
I think the consistency in his routine and schedule helps a lot.
Hmm.
A lot of pictures. Nikki's very visual, and I do make a lot of social stories for him through pictures in ways to explain to him what's happening in our lives when there are changes that take place.
Can you go a bit more into what the story time is for the parents that don't know out there what that is?
Yeah, so for Nicky, I would create small books for him with pictures and simple sentences to explain to him things that were going on in our life. Simplicity is very key for Nicky to understanding language. So, for example, I may create a book and have a photo of our old house and, tell him that, this is our previous home, and then have some photos of our new home with a sentence that captions, this is our new home now. um, Along with photos of maybe the bus in front of our new home, explaining to him the bus comes to our new home now.
Mhm.
Very, very simple, but the photos correlating with the sentence helps him to understand what's happening.
Yeah, very cool. I use that with my clients over the years too. How
Mhm.
has your perspective of autism changed from, say, when Nikki first got diagnosed till now?
On autism
Yeah,
itself, or
yeah, autism itself. Like you first hear the diagnosis, Nikki has autism, and you now and then just take us through the years of how your perspective has changed on it.
that's yeah. Well, there's been a lot of years there.
Hmm.
Nikki was born prematurely at 31 weeks gestation, and he was in the NICU for 5.5 weeks. So with his prematurity, I thought that he would basically just be catching up and developmentally, and when he didn't, he was eventually diagnosed with autism. So it was a little shocking for me for a while.
Hmm.
It was hard to take. I just had assumed that once he grew into his prematurity, that he would just catch up like any other child and would be walking, talking normally,
Hmm.
along with his developmental skills. So,
Hmm.
it's been a lot of ups and downs through the years. We had several years with Nicky with severe behavioral issues that, he was harmful to himself and other people. They were very difficult. So I think my perspectives have changed a lot through the years due to, difficulties and adaptations to whatever new difficulties would arise with him, especially, for safety issues there.
Mm-hmm.
But, has changed a lot of my view of the world. And it's the beauty of him and the beauty of seeing things through his eyes and the way that he experiences life, his innocence about everything, the way that he just appreciates the small things in life. There's no replacement for that beauty and what it teaches me. He's really taught me everything about life and love, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful way to be. It's a beautiful way to experience the world, and it's a beautiful thing that he can teach that to other people.
That's beautiful. So is this lesson that you learned from Nicky what inspired you to write your book?
Yeah, actually, like I said, we've been through a lot of ups and downs, and we had a lot of years there that were very difficult with his behavior issues, and
Yeah.
they're very trying. And it was a good stretch of about, 7 years or so that were mostly bad days instead of good days. And I just felt like I had experienced so much from when he was a baby that there had to be information and ways through my experiences to help other parents, to relate to me, how they felt from a parent's perspective, and how to teach other people in the community that are, teachers and therapists, that sort of thing, what it's like from a parent's point of view to watch their child, go up and down with all of these difficulties, and then also to experience the joys of what they do accomplish, and to promote hope out there that, you can overcome these difficulties and find balance in them. And I always encourage parents, through my writing, to just never give up. There were so many times during the difficult times that I've had doctors tell me to institutionalize my son because of safety issues,
Mm-hmm.
and I refused to do so. I just refused to believe that there wasn't something out there that would help him to maintain some balance and keep him safe, out of all the doctors, therapies, medications that are out there. And I never wanted my son to be somewhere taken care of by someone that doesn't love him as much as his mother does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely the big struggle, especially with kids at Nicky's developmental level. Like, do you put them in a halfway home or institutionalize them, or do you keep on the good fight and find that peace? The big thing I have found with talking to clients, parents, is like self care. Like, I think is like the big secret on how not only does your child stay out of those places, that they can stay with their families. Do you believe that your self care is why Nikki's able to stay with you? Because I see you on Facebook with all your kickboxing and you know
Yeah,
all that. Do you think that plays a huge
I've
part of
had,
how he's able to stay with you?
yes, it's really key for parents, and it is very difficult. It's difficult to find the time for the self-care, but from when Nicky was a baby and having the full-time job of balancing out so many therapists coming in and out of the home, and then lack of sleep, following through with his education at home when the therapist would leave, I completely lost myself in that. I just had no time to even remember who I was. I just was completely immersed in helping him to progress and keeping him calm, helping him sleep, helping him gain weight and stay healthy. But that was, the one thing that was missing for me in my life, is that I completely lost myself, especially when his father and I separated, and, I became a single parent. It was even more difficult for me
Mm.
to really find myself and to have that self-care. And that has really been key for me in my life, to find ways to stay out of depression and anxiety, is to have that self-care tools and balance in place for myself, through meditation, prayer, exercise, time with friends, time with family, things that pertain to me and my skill sets. I write my books and I like to paint, make jewelry. I have my hobbies and my skills that are just of me, and I need to practice that daily in order to be a better mother to him.
Mm-hmm. Um, so can you let's jump back to your book. You give, I guess, a verbal excerpt from the book about, like, what are you exactly talking about in the book? Because that's a very big topic about a mother's love for their child.
Yeah. So both of my books, my first book was Dear Nicky, Love Mommy, and the second one is I Speak with My Heart. And that's basically the way Nicky speaks to me. It's from his heart. Um, that's why I called it that. But in the first book, I really wanted to release a lot of my emotions, and it was sort of like a self-therapy for me and healing. um, Writing, my son letters and releasing my feelings and my emotions about all that we have been through. I talk about our journey from his birth through adulthood, and then more so in the second book, I talk about his later years and the changes that take place when a child approaches the age of 18.
Mm-hmm. Um, so why is it so important to release your emotions? Because I know the stereotype for moms out there is a lot that that you're supposed to portray. I have to have it all together, or else I'm failing my child. As a mother, do you have to have it all together? Or are there moments where you can be vulnerable
Mhm.
with Nikki? It seems like this book's very much about teaching parents how to be
Yes,
vulnerable in a good way with their children, no matter where they are.
exactly. We're all human, and we all have our breaking points. None of us are perfect. Everything is trial and error. And there are times that we don't feel perfect, and we have that mother guilt. And I think it's important to release that. We're all trying the best that we can for our kids, and I think the best thing that I teach parents is to just never let go of that bond and that love between mother and child, whatever the label is placed on your child.
It's really powerful. And like, bravo for all of you've come through in this journey to write such a book. Uh,
Thank you so much.
because I have met so many parents that just like stay bogged down in all the bad years, even after the bad years are gone and their kids are doing well. Like, they're still like traumatized by what
I
has
see.
happened. So it's I think it's very powerful, and I think parents should read this woman's book because it's so important to learn about your emotions, even with a special needs child. Like, you are important, you have value to more people than just your child. Like, and I feel like we can build a community through books like this. Um, so what?
Our hardships give us the time to work on ourselves internally.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with needing therapy, or reaching or needing to reach out to a clergy person or your family and saying, I am just not okay. I'm really stressed out, I'm losing sleep, I'm depressed because my child screams for 8 hours and I can't figure out why. This medicine isn't working and it's breaking my heart because I want to see my son feel better and be comfortable in his own skin.
Hmm.
Every parent wants the best for their child, and they want their children to be happy. you
Hmm.
know and I felt that way about my son. I had no problem accepting that he would be different and need assistance all the time. I had no problem with that at all. I just wanted to see that smile on his face every day,
Hmm.
no matter what it was that made him happy, no matter what way he learned. I wanted that smile on his face. So watching him go through anguish and be uncomfortable in his own skin, it just broke my heart to try to figure out how to fix this for him to where you know, he would be different, but I just wanted to see him progressing. And, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, you know, hey, you know, I'm crying at nighttime because I want my son to be okay. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. It doesn't make a person weak. I think it makes you stronger to be able to admit that and to actually go out and get help and get some therapy, find someone to talk to sort those feelings out. And, you know, and no one is alone in with these feelings. You know, we all love our children and we want what's best for our children.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most. If you want to flip this to a more positive, is that our autistic children are forcing us to confront our feelings and really self-reflect and heal. And I think that's an incredibly powerful lesson that Nikki has taught you. And I hope that for the other parents out there that they get to the same place you have, realizing that even though those years were incredibly hard, like look at all you've learned about being human, despite
Yes,
being with somebody uh, who enjoys the simple thing. Because like with all of the technology and all of the things that we have to do to keep up with Joneses, uh,
yes,
like, one of the beautiful things about kids like Nikki is that they really make you appreciate the simple things. That being said, Nikki is now an adult. What are your hopes and dreams like going forward? Because I like that you want to focus on his happiness because that's more about accepting Nikki.
yes. Yeah, and the celebration, you know, like when you're having those hard days and those hard times, the celebration that's there and the reward that you feel, you know, when your children do progress or make those milestones or have a happy day, you know, it's a wonderful feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, things have changed quite a bit, you know, with things that have been going on and, you know, out with this pandemic today. Um, Nicky would have been graduating this year at age
Mm-hmm.
21, but he, you know, had to be pulled out of school due to this, you know, virus that's going around. So he won't actually have his graduation, and he had to end school early, you know. And I was planning on finding a program for him that he could go to
Mm-hmm.
during the day to keep him stimulated. You know, he needs 24-hour care. Like I said, he's on the severe end of the spectrum. So as you know, with our children, you know, some have a higher level of care than others, and Nicky needs 24-hour supervision and care. But now with all of this going on, I'm educating him myself in the home, and I will be getting, you know, at-home supports for him
Mm-hmm.
for physical therapy, that sort of thing, help getting him out of the house for a bit, you know, until we could see what transitions take place with this virus.
Mm-hmm. Um. So, um, what has worked for you during this quarantine with Nikki for the parents that have kids similar to him? Like how you explain to him, oh, we can't go outside.
Yeah, it's been very difficult on him, especially um, after a few weeks went by. You know, usually he knows a time frame of what's coming about. You know, he would know if he had a couple weeks off of school that he would eventually be going back. And then at first he was happy because he was just, you know, home having a good time with mommy. And then once the time passed and he realized he wasn't going back to school, he started to become very upset and frustrated and confused.
Mhm.
You know, I've had to explain to him that school is finished and that he would now be learning at home with mommy. He does not understand why. Now he just understands that that's what's happening now. So the best thing that I could do is to remain upbeat with him, not have him sense any of my fears or anxieties, and keep a consistent routine with him. Routines and schedules work for him. Um, Giving him some options too to choose from to give him a little bit of control. You
Mhm.
know, like, Nicholas, would you like to do this today or would you like to do that today? What's your choice? You know, and just that consistency there, I think, is
Yeah.
really helping.
Yeah, I think that's the name of the game for high or low functioning autistic people. Like, we need that consistency in order to feel safe.
Yes.
Um, so like, I think before parents try to do anything new, is like, how can we make this a consistent thing? Is the biggest message I'm getting from what you're saying. What I'm personally experiencing that's helping me is having this routine.
Yes, absolutely. And I like what you said about him feeling safe. I
Hmm.
think that that does help him feel safe because, anxiety and fear go together.
Hmm.
And, I think he was experiencing that in the beginning, but I try to remain as calm as possible with my disposition with him so that he doesn't sense that, that anything's wrong or that there is something to panic or be fearful about. So I think, he will look at me and I think, well, mommy seems okay, so it must be okay, and I reassure him a lot. I give him a lot of praise. Always let him know how proud I am of him, anything that he's doing, our lessons together. I reward him with prizes or things that he likes, possibly things that he likes to eat or, movies that he might like to watch. So I always keep, positive reinforcement there for him.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And this leads me to my final question for you, Cheryl. There's been a lot of talk about how the world should start looking at autism, from appreciation to acceptance to grieving to you name it. How do you want the world to start looking at autism in a new way?
In a new way. Well, um, you know, it's like with anything, there are all different types of people in this world,
Mm,
and acceptance is key. Our we have our autistic children, they're not going anywhere. Autism isn't going anywhere,
mm,
and we're all a part of this beautiful world together. So I think the more that we can understand each other and have that empathy and respect for one another and their differences, it can really help people to learn, more about life and more about what helps our kids to function and become more educated.
hmm. That's beautiful. So, what's on the horizon for you? Do we have another book coming out? Do we have? Let's.
I do. I am writing a third book, and this pandemic has really changed the course of my writing for this book because I started out writing about, our next transition in life together, which would be Nicky turning 21 and finding a new facility for him to attend and what that would look like for him.
Mhm,
Because I have to make those decisions for him, and it's it's a weight on me as a parent to really feel as though I'm making the right decision that will make him happy, because it's not like he can say to me, "Hey mom, I want to be a doctor," or I want to go to college for art or anything like that. I have to know my son well in my heart and analyze and say, okay, I really think that this place would be a good fit for him based on his interests and things like
mhm,
that. So, I've been doing a lot of thinking about that and researching, and now things have completely flipped around to a different mindset. Okay, what will make him happy to learn at home right now, and what sort of activities will make him happy at home, rather than thinking about which facility would suit him well. And I feel like I'm trying to help him find himself right now, because now that he is finished school and he had those activities there that were provided for him,
mhm.
I think he's learning a little bit more about who he is right now during this time, the way we all are.
Yeah, I'm
So
definitely going.
writing about that is a really different perspective for me. So I think it's going to be quite interesting, and I enjoy writing about it. I love writing about my son and sharing him with the world.
Mhm. Well,
You know,
thank you for sharing him and sharing your story. Thank you for spending time, and thank you for keeping up the good fight and turning into such a positive, loving message. for the world to
Thank you so
hear.
much. I appreciate you.
And we appreciate Nicky. We can hear it in the background.
Yeah, he's making his sounds. You want to come and say hi, Nicky? Would you like to come and say hello? Want to say hi to Samuel? Let me see if he'll say hello. We'll try. Sometimes he wants to be on camera and sometimes he doesn't. Come here. Can you say hello? Say hello.
Hi,
Say
Nicky.
hello. That's Mommy's friend. Say hi. Okay, I hear you. I understand. Thank you. He makes a lot of sounds. That's the way he communicates a lot. So.
Well, the sounds are good because that's what makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah, he has a smile on his face. So as long as he's happy, that's the important thing.
And that's one thing I tell parents with kids like Nicky is like, as long as he's happy, like teach him the time and place to make those sounds, rather than saying shh. Like, this is your time and place to make those noises. Like, 'cause that's their way of expressing their emotions.
Yeah, and releasing.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. Until next time, Cheryl, thank you for coming on my show. Until next time, people subscribe. Cheryl, how can we get in contact with you? How can we buy your amazing book?
Okay, so Dear Nicky, Love Mommy, and I Speak With My Heart are on Amazon.com. And you can contact me at Cheryl0426@Verizon.net. You can reach me on my author page on Facebook. It's Dear Nicky, Love Mommy. Instagram, Cheryl Borrelli. And I think that's it.
All right. So here, folks, check, subscribe below, and find Cheryl on Facebook. We hope to have conversations with you in the future, audience. All right, signing off.
You absolutely will. Thank you so much for having me.
And goodbye, Nicky.
Okay.